All right. Just a little bit of an announcement. By the way, I am running a retreat next year, April 20th to 26th. So it's mostly the retreats that I will run are themed retreats. This one is on becoming, it's supposed to be on becoming a peaceful warrior, building a strong mind, a strong heart, and a strong body. So we will practice. There will be like, but I will share more details in the email later. I just wanted to share this with you. There's going to be here in Sri Lanka in Kogala. This is the venue, and it's in front of a massive lake.
Beautiful. I want to go.
Oh my God, this is so beautiful. In front of it is a massive lake, and then and then on the other side is the beach, so you can go surfing. Like this is so inspiring. I love the space. And so yeah, this is kind of like what the vibe we're going for.
Sounds amazing.
It is very amazing. And yeah, the idea again of the retreat is to, build a strong mind, heart, and body, right? It's not just mind, it's not just mental toughness, it's not just one, but more like going for a holistic approach. All right, so now I'm going to start. I'm just going to review what is flow state. So the godfather of flow, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, he wrote a book called Flow, the psychology of optimal performance, of optimal functioning. I forgot the full, but he is the godfather of flow, and he did a research about happiness. Most of the people who he asked, whenever he asked them about like what were the things that made them happy, every time they describe that moment is always typically moments where they are engaged in a task that they are passionate about, that challenged them, where they lose themselves in the moment. They lose themselves in the moment. They're optimally challenged. It feels flowy. So this is his description. Flow state is being completely involved in an activity for its own sake. The ego falls away, time flies, every action, movement, and thought follows inevitably from the previous one, like playing jazz. Your whole being is involved and you're using your skills to the utmost. So I'm just going to let you process that a little bit. And maybe think about the last time where you were engaged, you were doing something, and you were completely involved, where you felt like you were in flow. And think about what activity was that. Okay. So if you already remember, already know, I'm going to move on. Now, today we're going to talk about autotelic. What does autotelic mean? When we were talking about the 9 dimensions of flow last week. So these are 9 dimensions of flow. I'm just going to review it a little bit. These are the things that happen when you are in flow. There's challenge, skills, balance. That means the level of the challenge is not too high. Not too high from your skill level. This is the challenge. This is your skill. You're engaged in a challenge that's a little bit above your skill level. So it forces you to focus. It pulls you into the moment because you're using your skills to the utmost. That's what it means by challenge, skills, balance. There's action and awareness merging. That means you're one with whatever it is that you're doing. You're not here and then you're thinking about something else. You're one with when you're cooking. You lose yourself in the moment. You're just cooking and like there's loss of self-consciousness. You're not conscious about yourself. You're not constantly critically judging yourself. This is why there's action awareness merging. There's clear goals. When you're cooking, you want to finish whatever it is that you're. Oh, Dayani. Right. She got locked out. She's coming back. Okay. On And there's unambiguous and relevant feedback. There's feedback whenever you're cooking. You need to constantly focus on it. Otherwise, it's going to get, it's not going to be good. I mean, I don't understand why I'm talking about cooking. I'm not a good, I'm not into cooking, but it just like came to mind. A sense of control, loss of self-consciousness, transformation of time. When you're in flow, you forget about the time. It seems like time falls away. It's either it goes by so fast or goes really slow. And then autotelic experience. So I just wanted to go through this so that we can go back to why are we talking about autotelic? What does that mean? Autotelic means it's like an end in itself. The actual doing is the end. The actual cooking is the end, or for me, it's rock climbing. And I use this example a lot because it's just easier for me to explain it, to use it as an illustration. When I'm climbing, no matter when I'm doing rock climbing, which is one of my main flow inducing activity, I'm climbing because I love to climb. I'm not a sponsored athlete. I am whatever. I don't get anything from climbing except for the happiness that it gives me. So I enjoy it for the doing. It's not because I want to, or if you're a runner, autotelic experience, you want to run because you want to run, not because you have other goals in mind. Oh, you want to get fit, or like, yeah, those are like a secondary. But the main thing is you love to run because you love to run. You write your journal because because the writing of the journal just makes you feel good. So that's what autotelic means. So I'm going to go back. So autotelic that means like an end in itself, right? But autotelic can also be a personality. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi talked about it in his book, Flow. This is the book, actually. I used it as a, this is the book. Flow, the Psychology of Optimal Experience. So he says that when you're in flow, it's an optimal experience. Why am I talking about autotelic? It's because when you have an autotelic personality, which is not a given, it can be cultivated, you are more prone to getting into flow. You are more prone to being able to access flow. So let's read about what autotelic means. Autotelic people as those who need few material possessions and little entertainment, comfort, power, or fame, because so much of what he or she does is already rewarding. Because such person experience flow in work, in family life, when interacting with people, when eating, even when alone with nothing to do. They are less dependent on the external rewards that keep others motivated to go on with a life composed of routines. They're more autonomous and independent because they cannot be as easily manipulated with threats or rewards from the outside. At the same time, they are more involved in everything around them because they are fully immersed in the current life. So what are your observations about this person who has an autotelic personality? What does this speak to you?
They must be totally relaxed to be in that state. So I would imagine they would be quite happy with their life and the way it's going and what they're doing. Does that come into it?
Yeah, relaxed. They're happy with what they're doing.
I'd also like to say that, I'm a person who's like this has probably already found their purpose and what gives them joy, and they can see the joyful things in every moment, in nature, in simple foods, in the people they meet, even though they're not friends, but just everyone that we encounter in our daily life. And they're just very mindful of and living very consciously.
I would agree with that totally.
And it sounds like anything else come to mind?
It's that feeling of contentment.
Mm-hmm.
But then I listened to the lecture you gave last week. There's also a small amount of challenge involved as well, an optimum amount of challenge or stimulation
Mm-hmm.
to be in the flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everything else that you both said, absolutely. And there's one thing that I'm looking for, and that kind of like encapsulates everything that you guys said. It's autotelic means, or this person, which Mihai is describing, most people who have autotelic personality are intrinsically motivated. They have internal locus of control. So there's this theory called self-determination theory, right? When you have an autotelic personality, you feel like you have the power to change your situation. You are capable of changing your situation. You're capable of setting goals, of going after what you want. There's self-efficacy. That means you have a belief that you have the skill to be able to handle the challenge or the task at hand. So they are interconnected. The main thing about the autotelic personality is that this person's joy, contentment is dependent on the inside, not so much on the outside. The joy, the power, the satisfaction is being cultivated from the inside. The locus of control is internal instead of external. That means the person doesn't need to win first place in a marathon just so he will be happy or satisfied. The person doesn't have to earn $1 million to find happiness. They don't have to be engaged in this whatever, like to get internal whatever. So having an autotelic personality or autotelic mindset, that means it's a lot of work, because everything has to be so internal. But also that means that this is why it says here, they are more autonomous and independent because they cannot be easily manipulated with threats or rewards from the outside. It is up to them. Whether I am happy or not is up to me. I make my decision. Okay, I am given this impossible task. If you have an autotelic mindset, this is absolutely impossible. It's really stretching me. What do I do? Oh my God, this is so much. Like, this is stressful, whatever. Or if you have like trained yourself to have an autotelic mindset, okay, this is absolutely impossible. This stretches me a lot. How do I handle this? Am I capable of handling this? How can I break? And then at the back of your head, you have this, you have a flow mindset where, okay, what can I do to make this? How can I turn this around to make this a flow inducing activity? This is an impossible task. It's way beyond my challenge skills balance. The challenge is too high for me. It's overwhelming. How can I make this not overwhelming? Maybe I break this down. Okay, I have to run 40K, 42 kilometers, a marathon. It's an impossible task. I'm overwhelmed, but I have an autotelic personality. What do? I break it down. Okay, how do I do that? Maybe I'll just hit like 2 kilometers. Bam, you hit 2 kilometers. Wow, you got the dopamine high. You're gaining momentum. Now you feel happy. Okay, I'm going to hit another 2 kilometers and then another 2 kilometers. And then without realizing, oh, you already finished the marathon. So, like you know how to game yourself. You know how to turn whatever it is an impossible task, that turn it into a challenge and make it playful, so that you don't feel like, oh, I have to do this. You still feel light. Okay, how can I handle this? And also, when you have an autotelic personality, you can't be easily bribed. You can't be easily manipulated. Oh, if you don't do this, I'm gonna whatever. Oh, I'm gonna lose this. Something like that. I'm not giving a very good illustration, but I imagine you get the idea. So that is Mihai. This is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's I'm just gonna say Mihai description of what autotelic personality is. And then now we talk about the egoic mindset, which is, and I really want to talk about this because, by the way, the egoic mindset, this does not mean that you have an inflated ego or you're arrogant or in this context, that is not what this means. It's more on the actual ego in terms from the lens of psychology, the id, ego, superego. The ego is the one that balances the id and the superego, right? It is the one that's constantly balancing both sides. So anyhow, most of us, and I would talk about this because we're looking at this from the lens of performance. And why? Because we're performing we're functioning or we're performing in every aspect of our life. So in this egoic mindset, which is what I used to do before. I like challenges. I like to accomplish things. I like to go after what I want. However, with there are two ways to approach a challenge: from an egoic mindset, a flow mindset. So this is what an egoic mindset has. It values extrinsic gains. It's outcome oriented. Or do I finish the race at under 2 hours and 30 minutes? It's so much based on the outcome. It's based on winning, meaning it's better than, am I better than this person? I want to be better than this person. I want to be the best runner ever. So there is like, you're comparing yourself to other people, right? I want to be better than this person. I want to be la la la. Uncompassionate, not just towards others, but more so towards oneself. Very competitive. Superior or inferior. This constantly judging oneself against other people. Distracted by comparisons. Apprehensive, rigid, see problems. Anxiety, fear, stress. Self-doubt. Try to overcome conflict. Pressure, I perceive pressure. If I have an egoic mindset, I perceive every pressure as a problem. I tend to over control things. I want to be in control of every single thing. Otherwise, if I'm not in control, it's gonna go awry. I want to make it happen. And there's constrained performance, there's limited potential. When you cultivate an egoic mindset, yes, you can accomplish things. You are a driven person. You like to accomplish things. Most elite athletes, people who are very successful, they have an egoic mindset. Again, this is not so much about like an inflated ego. It's different. We have an egoic mindset. And when we were doing the training, while I was doing the flow coach training, I was like, yeah, of course, when you have this idea at the back of your head, you can rely on it. It works. If you need to accomplish a certain goal, having this at the back of your head and knowing, no, I have to it's called grit or clutch. It works. It gets you there. It gets you to the finish line and it allows you to accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish. And I was like, why is it bad if it works? And Cam, who runs the training, it's like, yeah, but then here's the thing. You have relief afterwards. You have like, the journey was dissatisfying. There's relief that, oh, I'm glad that this project is finally over. I can relax. Oh. And then once you constantly have that, you need to perform, and then you have to go into this like egoic mindset mode just to get it done. Eventually, you are going to develop avoidance-based patterns because it's mentally and emotionally exhausting. It gets you into a cycle where instead of you just eventually get tired, because again, it is mentally and emotionally demanding. For like really grit. Oh, you find relief, and then what? It's hard to go back again because it requires everything of you. You don't feel satisfied. You feel relief instead of satisfied, instead of getting satisfied. There's also, like, I wrote, like, these are some of the notes that I had. You eventually get distracted. There's an internal conflict, there's stress, there's avoidance. What are the understanding this or knowing this, do you recall an experience where you had to like use an egoic mindset because you have an impossible task or whatever it is that, or does any of this resonate with you?
I think, yeah, totally. I mean, in the past, I mean, we've all had to sit exams and things. So I would say passing an exam would be something which you would have to use your egoic mindset to do. Would that be right?
Absolutely.
Or even a work challenge. I mean, yeah, when I look back to my previous career, I remember there was always things that needed to be done, and it was just about getting them done, not really enjoying the journey.
Yeah, I like what you said, not really enjoying the journey.
I would like to also add that this egoic mindset is something that I feel I was conditioned to develop from a very early age. You know, you gotta study. Why aren't you the top of your class? You gotta go to the best university, do the best degree. And even in my degree, it was like, you know, when you're working with clients, you got to set SMART goals. You know, it's got to be specific, it's goal oriented, you know, achievable in a certain time, and you know, it's KPIs and things like that. And since starting my own healing journey about a decade ago, it's really, you know, very much into trusting my instincts, listening to the inner voice. You know, the time frame is not specific and not linear. It's going to happen in divine timing, and really trusting. So, you know, really transitioning from that sort of egoic mindset to, you know, what I was conditioned and what most of my family is like, to something that woo woo, or you know, you're nuts, where's the stability in this?
Yeah, I absolutely, like, it's like most of us are also, most especially in the Western world, we have this, you know, very achievement oriented, very achievement oriented. Oh, I have to achieve this. You have to be rich, achieve, like, get a master's degree, blah, blah, blah. And when you do that, well, you need to focus, you need to grit, you need to have, like, exactly, like, SMART goals. You need to hit it by this time and this time and this time. But then, okay, those are all good things, absolutely. But we forgot about, like, what about the experience? What about the internal experience of the person who is pursuing point B, point C, point Z? What is the internal experience? Because sometimes we tend to just focus on the outcome, focus on the target, just getting there. But was the experience enjoyable to get there? Did you feel satisfied? Did you feel good about yourself? Was it did it bring you joy? Did it help you become the person you want to become, which is more relaxed, more chill, more trusting, more like, yes, I can do this. I trust myself, that I know that I know that I know, and then I can let go. That is not the feeling that you have when you have the egoic mindset. You want control, control, control. Oh, what is it? And that is exhausting. And we have no control.
I totally agree with you, Nash. But you know, and I love the flow mindset, but when you live in the world that it is today, and I don't know what most families are like, but in my family, if I start speaking about flow, you know, my family members will say to me, oh, what's the point of, you know, the internal experience and experiencing joy? We'll experience joy when we get there, you know, when we have our millions, when the company is successful, you know, it's like, now we just got to work, you know, it's like, you can't have everything. I'm like, no, I don't want to be stressed out when I get there. I want to enjoy the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get it. You know, it's like, oh, you're off with the fairies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm, so that's a tricky one. Can you know, how do you kind of, I guess, I think what I'm trying to ask, or the question is, when you're in flow, how do you make flow the normal and to be accepted, or to be equally as powerful as the egoic mindset in today's world? With, I don't know, the most of the people I'm surrounded with have the egoic mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, flow, right, is very kind of, right now it's esoteric. Not a lot of
Mm.
people understand it. Most people think, a lot of people think that it's a mystical experience.
Mm.
It's a mystical experience. They know that it's happening when I describe it, or like when I ask people, do you know what flow is? Well, I'm like, oh no, not really. Okay, when was the last time you felt like this? Oh, I was doing this. I was writing my journal. I was like doing kite surfing. Oh, okay, then that is flow. And what did you feel after? Was it good? Did you accomplish what you wanted to do? Yes, I accomplished my best work. Were you trying so hard? Actually, I wasn't trying hard. Things just came to me. Ideas came to me. It flowed out of me. I felt so relaxed. I felt joy. There was satisfaction. And so when I start describing that, they understand, because I try to relate what was the experience instead of telling this is what flow is. But I would ask, when was the last time you felt like this? When this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Okay, then they understand what it is. Okay, however, and then they would like, yeah, I know when it's happening to me, but I don't know how to make it happen, because that would be the approach that I would like when I try to accomplish something. I would like to approach it from a flow mindset. I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to tap into flow. It feels like a mystical experience. And so I'm like, oh, okay, no, there are things that we can do to make anything, whatever it is, approach it from a flow mindset or a flow perspective of flow. It's not a mystical experience. It's science-based. There's research, psychology, and neuroscience behind it. And it's not woo-woo. But yeah, I understand what you mean by, yeah, what is that? La, la, la. Because most of us feel like this, and it seems like flow, it's too good to be true. Like, what are you talking about? Okay.
And it seems like, more like you say, it's so esoteric, and it's people who are doing the inner work, who are on a healing journey, that want to live in flow. And the rest of the world, the corporate business people, you know, the sort of, I don't know, the normal world or the masses,
Yeah.
you know, they're like, how do you apply that into the masses and the rest of the world?
I'm just wondering, I mean, even people who are very business orientated and have these goals that they set themselves all the time, and it's not really about enjoying what they're doing. It's all about reaching their goal and then being relieved once they've done that. But there must be moments in their lives when they switch off from that. It might be, well, you mentioned earlier, Nash, about cooking a meal. You know, they must become totally absorbed in chopping vegetables or chopping herbs. There must be small moments in their lives when they do reach this flow state, but they're maybe not aware of it. That be it, and it would be about tapping into those moments and expanding them out. Do you think?
Yes, yeah, exactly. There are things that, if you've experienced this when you're cooking, there are, we call it preconditions of flow, or flow triggers, where what we're using, or we can juxtapose it against work, or against whatever it is that we're pursuing or having this mindset. But I was gonna talk about something else. But where was I gonna go? Yeah, anyway. In terms of, oh yeah, now I remember. So flow is quite esoteric, and most people who understand flow or a lot of people can easily understand flow is, it was introduced to me, how it was introduced to me was through action adventure sports. Because I'm a rock climber and we do a lot of mental training. We do a lot of mental training, or you need to condition your mind because it's not just physical, it's so mental. You have to be physically strong, but you also have to be mentally strong, but you also your heart has to be strong. What do I mean by that? You're climbing at this height, you're climbing a route of 30-meter route. In the middle of the route, you are at the crux. Crux means it's the difficult part of the route. You're already climbing, you're already exhausted, physically exhausted. You really tried to focus, Bam, you're at the middle of the route where it's so hard, you can't figure out what am I gonna do? If I do this, I will fall, or you get paralyzed because you don't know what to do. Either you let go or you just, and then you stay, and you're wasting your energy just staying there. You're paralyzed, you're allowing your emotions to paralyze you, and you have this tunnel vision. You can't see where to go next. So you need to train your mind to calm down. You be able to have clarity of thought in a high stress situation and be able to problem solve at a high stress situation. Where you're physically stressed, you're mentally stressed. How do you do that? And this is what happens to us all the time. However, most of what we do is we stress and we panic, or we get paralyzed. Panic, paralyzed, fight or flight. But in rock climbing, because we have to train, no, I don't want to be paralyzed. I want to get to the top, get to the anchor, and feel good that I got there. And it was flowy. It was not like, oh, I have to fight. I don't like that feeling, because it's negative. It's we call it clutch or grit. Again, at the end, you feel like this relief, and I do not like that. And so anyway, it was more like, now you need to take control of your mind, where you slow down your heart rate, where you go back to your breath. And because I practice Ashtanga yoga, then somehow it's kind of easier for me to get there. Oh, I need to go back to my breath. I need to calm my mind. Hold myself out from the situation mentally, and then look at the problem. Okay, now somehow my heart rate goes down, and then I need to remind myself to trust myself. Nash, you know this, you got this, you're capable of doing this. You need to trust yourself. Okay, let me look around. What can I do? Maybe I grab this. Oh, there's another one. There's another hold there. If I move my body like this, I can get to the next hold and then clip. If I fall, I fall. Okay, it's okay. I have to accept it. There's a rope anyway. It's not like I'm free soloing. So it's kind of these conversations in my mind, right, that is happening, but I need to be able to train that outside of climbing, so that when I am at the high stress situation, I don't go into clutch mode, into egoic mindset mode, into grit. I go into flow, where I'm trusting myself that I have the skill to be able to handle the task or the challenge. I'm trusting myself, but also because I trust myself, I can also kind of let go instead of control, this feeling. I can let go of a bit, where, okay, if I don't make it at the top, it's okay. I'm still really enjoying this climb because I'm not being paid to climb. This is play for me. It's okay. So not getting so married to the outcome, but being able to fall in love with the process. Then every single move I make, I already get the joy, which is what I want. I want to get the joy. I don't want to get the joy later when I get to the top. I want to get the joy now. And so you see, there's a lot of things that's going on. You're stretching yourself to the limit. You're constantly stretching your limit. You're engaging yourself in challenging tasks, but you're able to coach yourself through the process. and be in the moment instead of thinking about I'm at the crux, and the crux is at the middle of the route, and this is the anchor, instead of like thinking about, oh, if I don't make this, I don't get to the anchor, blah, blah, I don't know. I'm distracting. The goal of getting to the anchor is actually distracting me from the present moment, when I'm supposed to be at the present, coach myself through this present moment, because I'm never going to get there if I get so distracted, right? So it's kind of like the idea. I'm not sure if I was able to illustrate that properly.
You did really well, I think.
So and that approach, or having like a flow mindset, it is not automatic. You have to consciously cultivate that, intentionally cultivate that inside of you, because it's easy to go to our default, which is egoic mindset, because this is what this is how the world conditioned us. We're having these trophies, these results is the measure of our worth. But if we go back to what we talked about, the autotelic personality, where the person is intrinsically motivated, and then you realize these measures that people use, which measures of worth, like if you're intrinsically motivated, it doesn't actually affect you, because you feel like, no, the measure, my joy is being able to engage in challenging tasks, in tasks that I like, in tasks that brings me joy, tasks that I'm passionate about, things that make me light up, makes me feel I'm alive. And so all these other measures, it would pale in comparison to the internal experiences that you have, all these joy and happiness and peace that you have within yourself. But again, it is not normal. It's esoteric. It's not with the world, how the world runs. And it's too bad. I'm going to go back to, so now that we kind of like understand what egoic mindset is, okay, there. Let's look at autotelic personality. Why are we talking about autotelic personality? Again, when you have an autotelic mindset or autotelic personality, or you want to cultivate that within you, you are more prone to flow, or the proneness of flow. People who have autotelic personalities are challenge-minded. They don't mind being challenged. They're okay with challenges. They don't get stressed when there's pressure. Instead, it arouses them. It jolts them to action. There's a certain, we have this measure, or call it a measure. Anyway, not a measure. In order for you to get in flow, another idea is you need a sense of arousal, where you need to get up. Whatever the task, it has to arouse you enough to want to engage in it. Like rock climbing pulls me out of bed and gets me to hike like 20 minutes to get to the rock and climb and suffer again. Like the arousal is like really strong to me to get there, because I find it challenging. Anyway, go back to autotelic personality. So it's challenge-minded, curious, learning-oriented, low self-centeredness, internally driven, resilient, enjoyment and transformation of boredom, enjoyment and transformation of challenges, attention control. Do you have any questions?
It's all really interesting. It's been nice to see you, Diani. Oh, it's just you and me now,
It's
Nash.
just you and me now. We can have a we can have a discussion. This is a of like the backbone of of having an autotelic personality. You're interested in getting into challenges. You're curious. You're able to. Or anyway, do you have any questions about these things?
I don't really. I'm looking at the enjoyment and transformation of boredom. I mean, I can't imagine that an autotelic person would get bored very easily.
Yeah, because the person is intrinsically motivated, or there's internal locus of control. And so whatever this person having a autotelic personality, you're always curious, always challenge minded. It's like, okay, what can I do here? What can I do to engage myself in something that's challenging? How can I turn this around? Oh, maybe I'll just start sweeping the floor, and I don't know, let's see if I can do it fast enough in 5 minutes. Like there's always like can find enjoyment in even the little things. There's enjoyment and transformation of challenges. So quite similar. And then attention control, which is very important. Attention control, having an autotelic personality means you are in control of your attention. You do not give your attention away very easily. It's up to you what you pay attention to. You have that power. For me, I would like to use this as an example. Like, I think one of my main superpowers is being able to sleep anytime, anywhere. Like sleep.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Anytime, anywhere. I can turn it off. And it's like a survival skill. And I think one of the reasons why I'm able to do that, and people are always asking, like, why is she like blah, blah. It's because of this like attention control. Regardless of where I am, I can kind of like turn it off in my head. I can quiet down my mind, like internally, consciously. It's up to me. But also I don't give my attention away so easily. I don't get distracted very easily because it's up to me. I guess I've also cultivated that or trained that with other aspect of my life that allows me to get there. Rock climbing requires a lot of focus. I can't really think about the problems when I'm in front of this rock or I need to climb it. When I'm practicing yoga, and I've like in Ashtanga as well, it's not, I don't really have to think what my next pose is, because in Ashtanga yoga, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ashtanga.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah. So there are set of poses. And if you do that over and over again, it's like so embedded into your system, you don't really need to think what to do next. You just move. It's like a mindless execution. And so my mind quiets down because my body is busy and I'm moving with my breath. There's one breath, one movement. There's one, and I'm so focused on the task at hand. And there is clear goal, which is to do one post to the next, which then allows me to fully focus on whatever it is, because there's clarity of what I need to do next. So that's really good training. And it also helps to cultivating autotelic personality. Proneness to flow. So in proneness to flow, there's kind of like, what are the characters of a person that is more prone to flow? So there, optimism, self-esteem, extroversion, openness to experience, negative relationship to neuroticism, internal locus of control, autonomy orientation, emotional stability, mastery orientation, need to learn, need to compete, self-efficacy.
That all makes sense.
Any of these speak to you, or any questions, anything you want to clarify?
No, it all makes total sense. It's really interesting.
These, if we look at it, you realize like this person having, or the type of personality or mindset that is more prone to flow, there's certain openness to things. It's not so closed off, right? They're like, okay, whatever it is that life throws at me, there's a sense of trust. There's self-efficacy, high self-esteem. I can handle it. If I can't handle it, it's okay. I will look at it as a challenge and I will turn it around and make it something fun. Because we say there's mastery orientation. Most people who are into flow, they want to master their craft. They have this proneness, or they are more interested in mastery instead of, like external validation, right? External validation, external rewards. They're more like, no, I want to be a really good rock climber because I want to be a really good rock climber because I love it. Not because I want to be better than this person, because I want to hit this grade. I just love it. And because I love it and I want to, like mastery orientation, we go back to challenge, skills, balance. The challenge is here. Your skill is here. But the more you do it, eventually your skill will go high. We look at mastery orientation. You need to constantly raise the level of the challenge, or the intensity or complexity of the challenge, so that you get in flow. If it's here, you're comfortable, you're relaxed, you're not in flow. It's too comfortable, it's too relaxed. You're not really challenging yourself. You need to bam. And so most people who have an autotelic personality, mastery orientation, they want to master whatever it is they're pursuing. Instead of, again, like, I want to be better than. I want to be the best that I can be, instead of I want to become the best in the world. There's also action orientation, autonomy orientation. So internal locus of control, autonomy orientation, and action orientation, they're quite related, right? Internal locus of control, meaning I am in control of my situation. It's not like the environment is in control of me, because this is my environment. This is why I'm like this. Regardless of my environment, I'm able to change it. I can affect change in my environment. This is what internal locus of control means. And there's autonomy. I have the power to be able to change course if I want to. And I will take action. I'm capable of taking action instead of just knowing, instead of just feeling good. I will take action required to get to point B. So there's like a sense of like, this, you feel empowered. You don't feel like a victim. You are in control of your life. You're in control of what you are. You are in control of what you are in control of, which is the process, not the outcome. You need goals to direct your behaviors, to direct your thoughts, to direct your feelings. But you don't use that. You don't want to get distracted to the goal. You want to, like, I know where I'm going there. But whether or not I'm going to achieve that is beyond me. But what I can focus is the now. What is the process? Okay, I'm going to focus on rock climbing, for example. I'm just going to focus on my breath. I'm going to focus on one move to the next. Do this, I'll do this. Like precision and mastery in every single move I make. And I realize, bam, I'm already at the end. I'm already at the anchor. Instead of thinking about, I'm here, I'm in the middle. Oh, I need to go. I need to. I'm like, that's in the future. I need to be in the present, and this is what I have full control over. Yeah, so it's kind of like the idea. Yeah. Any questions? Anything you want to?
It all makes total sense. I mean, I'm thinking, to be in the flow, you must be very passionate about what it is that you're doing at the time. So I would imagine it would be easier for people who've worked out what their passions are in life.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I think it can be quite a challenge to find what it is that you're passionate about. But if you've found some passions, yoga, I think that would help you to get into the flow.
Absolutely. Passion is like the number one thing that helps us to focus. When we're passionate about something, automatically we forget about everything. We're so focused on whatever it is that we're doing because we're passionate about it. If you don't know what your passion is, another thing that you can do is to follow your curiosity. What are you curious about?
Yeah.
When you're curious about something, you go after it, right? It pulls you in the moment. You want to keep reading, researching, you want to keep doing it, la 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 la, and you realize, oh, this is what I want to do. Everything that I engaged myself in, it was because I'm just like insatiably curious. I'm insatiably curious. I try a lot of things because I want to know. Before I got into rock climbing and yoga, I've tried a lot of different things. I got into running, triathlon, taekwondo, like a lot of swimming. I'm serious. Like I'm gonna, and at a very young age, I was always curious. I'm like, I see these other, I don't know why, but we watch a lot of movies or whatever, and I see like these people who are champions at something, who are so committed and devoted to like whatever, like boxing, for example. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was disciplined like that. I wish I had that. I wish, like that. And I don't know why, but I was just curious. I wanted to find it. I didn't know what I was passionate about, but I was curious about a lot of things and I wanted to test myself. And I realized like, yeah, I wanted to find that one thing where I will be insatiably curious. And then it just kind of like it's something that you can never exhaust. Rock climbing, you can never exhaust because there's always a next challenge. You can always, every single route, there's always there's a difficulty grade. And so if you feel like, oh, I'm so good, no, there's another route, it's gonna humble you. So you keep going and going and going and going. And I love that because I can always raise the level of the challenge or the complexity of the challenge. And
yes, that makes total sense. I'm very aware that it's only you and me here now, Nash, and I don't want you to be spending too much time on just me.
Our time is already actually up. I didn't realize. I was so
excited. I was thinking about that.
I didn't realize.
But thanks so much. It's been such an interesting session.
That's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, I was so absorbed in whatever it is that I'm doing. I actually was not aware of the time.
You were in the flow, and that's brilliant.
I'm always in flow when I'm talking about flow. But yeah, but I think we kind of already covered everything that I wanted to cover. Maybe we'll just go through this a little bit if you have a couple minutes.
I do, but I feel like you've covered everything so well.
Pretty much covered everything.
You really have, yeah. So it's been fantastic. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to. Thank you for joining, and I hope you see you at the next session. And
Yeah, hopefully.
if you have any questions, feel free to email me or send a message in WhatsApp. And thanks for letting me know about the time. I didn't realize.
Well, thanks, Nash. It's been so fantastic, and you have a lovely day. It might be nighttime where you are.
It's 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock
4
p.m.
o'clock. Oh, afternoon. It's 11:45 lunchtime here,
Ah,
so
okay.
a bit of a time difference.
Yeah. All
Um,
right.
well,
Thank you.
bye for now.
Thank you,
Bye.
Hazel. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.